So this story is actually pretty crazy. Honestly, I never thought I would see this. But basically, what's going on right now is it appears that the American scientific community, as well as the president and the White House, are open to the possibility of the whole Wuhan lab leak for the coronavirus. Remember, this was a theory that was brought up and it was dismissed as a conspiracy theory. That's what I thought it was for sure. But the government and American scientists are actually open to this being possible. So they're not saying that this is imperatively what happened, but they're saying it is possible. And to me, even that is so huge. This is a massive deal. Huge, because it was something you thought was just, that's a crazy conspiracy theory, right? And so what this story says is Biden asks Intel community to redouble efforts probing COVID-19 origins. President Biden on Wednesday announced a ramped-up effort to determine the origins of COVID-19, reflecting a new acceptance in U.S. political and public health circles that the virus might have emerged naturally or from a Chinese lab in the city of Wuhan. Biden asked the U.S. intelligence community to redouble their efforts to come to a definitive conclusion on the disease's origins, calling on them to report back to him within 90 days. Quote, as part of that report, I have asked for areas of further inquiry that may be required, including specific questions for China, Biden said in a statement. I have also asked this effort include work by our national labs and other agencies of our government to augment the intelligence community's efforts, and I have asked the intelligence community to keep Congress fully apprised of its work. The United States will also keep working with like-minded partners around the world to press China to participate in a full, transparent, evidence-based international investigation and to provide access to all relevant data and evidence. Top intelligence officials, including Director of National Intelligence Avril Haines, acknowledged at a hearing in April that a laboratory incident was a plausible scenario that the intelligence community was investigating. Also, remember that Fauci came out recently and was basically saying, we don't know the origins, and so basically saying that whole lab leak thing is possible. So it's going to be kind of difficult, I think, to get China to be even somewhat transparent in this situation, because they're going to want to say, no, we don't want to be investigated. But I think that, as COVID starts to die down and we start to really get it under grips, China needs to be heavily scrutinized. And my worry really is preventing the next COVID-19. And so we do want to figure out what the source was. This is very important, and I'm glad this is happening in a serious way, where it's, hopefully going to be a real investigation, not going in with any predetermined motives, other than to figure out where it came from. But you really want to prevent the next coronavirus. So if it was, the virus going from whatever it was, like a pangolin and a bat or whatever, I don't even know, it transmitted, and this is global warming is also contributing to these pandemics, because as the habitats of animals are destroyed, they move closer to us. Viruses go through the animals because of the closer distance, and it turns into something that, really, really fucks humans over. But what you're seeing is, hopefully there will be a lot of scrutiny, because we need to figure out how it happened. And then also, we know that China was really muzzling I think they, jailed or killed scientists or doctors who were pointing out that this was coronavirus and what was going on was something new. And so, not alerting the rest of the world properly that this is what's going on in order to protect the rest of the world. I do think that China should be sanctioned by the international community, the United Nations, and they should be punished very heavily for this, because the fact that they didn't take the proper channels to warn people and weren't taking this seriously and muzzling their own doctors, I think is certainly warrants punishment, heavy punishment at that. And we also need to make sure that this does not happen again. So whatever the source was, we need to prevent that source from doing another one. So if it was the wet markets, you have to close down the wet markets and make sure that it is closed down, and then have, UN inspectors go in, because again, you're putting us in a situation where the world is liable and can be in trouble for this kind of disease. So I'm glad that this is actually happening, and I'm curious to see what the results of said investigation are going to be.